The book of Numbers is where the biblical system stops pretending that its goal is to form people and starts revealing that its real concern is managing them. Up to this point, the narrative can still be framed as developmental. Genesis explains what's wrong with humanity. Exodus explains who's in charge. Leviticus explains the rules. But Numbers is where the patience runs out. Formation gives way to discipline. Relationship gives way to regulation. If Genesis breaks you by defining you as flawed from the start, if Exodus controls you by redefining freedom as obedience to a new authority, and if Leviticus monitors you by turning your body, behavior, and proximity into moral risks, then Numbers is where you are disciplined. This is not a story about wandering in the desert. That framing is very misleading. Numbers is not about geography or spiritual journeying. It's about resistance. It's about what happens when a population does not comply quickly enough, gratefully enough, or quietly enough. The wilderness is not a testing ground for growth, it's a containment zone for dissent. In Numbers, the basic human responses to fear, hunger, exhaustion, and uncertainty are no longer treated as understandable reactions. They are reclassified as rebellion. Questioning leadership becomes treason. Expressing doubt becomes moral failure. Survival itself becomes conditional, not on justice, not on care, but on alignment. The community is no longer treated as a collective of people navigating hardship together. It's treated as a compliance problem that must be solved. This is where the logic of punishment fully replaces the logic of persuasion. Problems are not addressed, they are eliminated. Time is weaponized through delay. Entire generations are sentenced to die rather than be convinced. Replacement becomes preferable to reform. When people do not submit fast enough, the system does not slow down to understand them, it waits them out. Numbers asks the same question over and over again in different forms and different crises. What do you do with people who won't fall in line? And the answer is consistent: punishment, delay, death, and replacement. This is the moment where liberation mythology collapses into coercive control. The promise of freedom gives way to the reality of management. What began as rescue now operates as discipline. And once a system decides that people are the problem, it no longer needs to care whether they flourish, only whether they comply. Numbers is a book about managing disobedient bodies in the desert,